November 8th, 1969, the Riviera Hotel and Casino in Las Vegas, the Versailles Room, 8:47 p.m. Dean Martin was 17 minutes into his show. The room was packed, 1,000 people, families, couples, high rollers, a Saturday night crowd, full of energy, full of life. Dean was feeling it. The show was going beautifully. He'd opened with a few jokes that killed, moved into "Everybody Loves Somebody." The audience sang along, swayed, the kind of crowd that made performing easy, made it fun. Dean was setting up his next song, bantering with the band, making the audience laugh. This was what he did best, making a room full of strangers feel like they were all friends, all in on the same joke, all part of something special. And then Dean saw movement near the back of the room, security guards, 2 of them, moving through the tables, moving with purpose, heading towards something, someone. Dean kept talking, kept the banter going, but his attention was divided, watching the guards. Watching where they were going. They stopped at a table near the back, a family, a mother, a father, and a young boy, maybe 7 or 8 years old. The guards were talking to the parents. Dean couldn't hear what they were saying, but he could see the body language. The guards pointing toward the exit, the parents shaking their heads, looking confused, upset. The mother put her hand on the boy's shoulder, protective. The boy was looking up at his parents, not understanding what was happening, not hearing what was being said. And that's when Dean realized the boy was deaf. Dean could see it in the way the mother was communicating with him, her hands moving, signing, explaining something. The boy watching her hands, his face going from confusion to hurt to fear. Dean's voice trailed off. He stopped talking mid-sentence. The band noticed, kept playing softly, vamping, waiting for Dean to continue. But Dean was watching the family, watching the guards, watching the mother stand up. The father stand up, both of them upset, arguing quietly, not wanting to make a scene, but clearly fighting, clearly refusing to leave. One of the guards put his hand on the father's arm, not aggressive, but firm, insistent, the kind of touch that said, "This isn't a request, this is a directive, you're leaving, now." Dean set his microphone down, walked to the edge of the stage. The music stopped. The audience stirred, uncertain, wondering what was happening. "Excuse me," Dean called out, toward the back of the room. The guards turned, saw Dean. The entire room turned to look. Security froze. "What's going on back there?" Dean asked, his voice carrying across the silent Versailles room. One of the guards stepped forward. "Just a small situation, Mr. Martin. We're handling it." "What kind of situation?" Dean asked. The guard hesitated. "We have a patron who's causing a disturbance." Dean looked at the family, the mother holding her son, the father standing protectively beside them. "That family, they're causing a disturbance." The guard shifted uncomfortably. "The child is making noise, sir. It's disruptive. The other guests have complained." Dean's jaw tightened. "What kind of noise?" The guard glanced at the family, then back at Dean. He's vocalizing, sir, making sounds. The guests near them have said it's distracting. They want to enjoy the show." Dean walked off the stage, down the steps, through the tables, walking toward the back of the room, walking toward the family. The entire audience watched in silence. Dean reached the family. The mother was crying, trying to hold it together. The father's face was red, angry but controlled. The boy was looking at his mother's hands, watching her sign, his own small hands signing back, confused, scared. Dean knelt down, eye level with the boy. "What's your name?" Dean asked, then realized. The boy couldn't hear him. Dean looked up at the mother. "What's his name?" "Tommy," the mother said, her voice shaking. "His name is Tommy." Dean looked at Tommy, smiled, then looked back at the mother. "Does he read lips?" "A little," the mother said. "But he's only 7. He's still learning. He mostly uses sign language." Dean turned to one of the guards. "What exactly did he do that was so disruptive?" The guard looked uncomfortable. "Like I said, sir, he's making noises, vocal sounds. It's bothering the other guests." "He's deaf," Dean said flatly. "He can't control the sounds he makes. He doesn't know he's making them." "The policy is," the guard started. "I don't care about the policy," Dean interrupted. "This is a child, a 7-year-old boy who came to see a show with his parents. And you're throwing him out because he's making noise? Because other guests are uncomfortable?" The guard had no answer. Dean stood, looked around the Versailles room, at the 1,000 people watching. "Is someone here bothered by this child?" Silence. Dean's voice got louder. Someone complained. Someone said this boy was too disruptive, too noisy, that they couldn't enjoy the show because a deaf child was making sounds he can't control. Who was it? More silence, uncomfortable shifting. Nobody spoke. "Because that's what I thought," Dean said. "Nobody has the courage to say it to my face, but they'll complain to security. They'll have a child thrown out, a child who can't hear, who can't help the sounds he makes. They'll do that, but they won't own it." Dean looked at the guards. "Here's what's going to happen. This family is staying. Tommy is staying. And if anyone has a problem with that, they can leave. I'll personally refund their tickets." The guards exchanged glances. "Mr. Martin, the hotel has policies about." "The hotel can take their policies and shove them," Dean said. "This is my show, my stage, and I decide who stays and who goes, and this family stays." Dean turned to Tommy's parents. "I'm sorry. I'm so sorry this happened. You shouldn't have been treated this way." The mother was crying openly now. "Thank you," she whispered. "Thank you so much." Dean looked at Tommy, still watching his mother's hands, still trying to understand what was happening. Dean touched the mother's arm gently. "Can you tell him something for me?" "Of course," the mother said. "Tell him that he belongs here, that he's welcome, that he can make all the noise he wants, and that anyone who doesn't like it can leave." The mother's hands moved, signing to Tommy. Tommy watched. His face changed, from fear to confusion to something else, wonder. He looked at Dean, really looked at him, and smiled. Dean smiled back, then stood, looked at the guards. "You can go now." The guards hesitated, then left, disappeared into the shadows at the back of the room. Dean walked back to the stage, every eye following him. He picked up his microphone. "Before we continue," Dean said, "I want to make something very clear. This showroom, this stage, this moment, it's for everyone. I don't care if you can hear or see or walk or talk. If you're here, you belong here. And if anyone thinks that a child making noise, a child who can't control it, is more disruptive than throwing that child out, then you fundamentally misunderstand what entertainment is supposed to be. Entertainment is about joy, about bringing people together, about making everyone feel like they're part of something. And if we can't make room for a 7-year-old boy who just wants to watch a show, then what's the point?" The audience was silent, processing. Then someone started clapping, one person, then another, then the whole room, standing, applauding, not for Dean, for Tommy, for inclusion, for humanity. Dean waited for it to die down. "Now," Dean said, "I'm going to do something different. I'm going to perform a song for Tommy, a song he can't hear, but maybe, just maybe, he can feel. What do you say, Tommy? You want to feel some music?" The mother signed to Tommy. Tommy's face lit up. He nodded enthusiastically. Dean turned to his band. "Bring Tommy up here." The mother looked shocked. "What? I want Tommy on stage with me," Dean said. "Right here, so he can feel the music, feel the vibrations, be part of this." I don't know if," Dean interrupted gently. "Trust me." The mother looked at her husband. The husband nodded, tears in his eyes. The mother took Tommy's hand, led him through the tables. Up to the stage. Dean helped Tommy up the steps, led him to the grand piano, sat him down on the bench, right next to the pianist. Dean knelt beside Tommy, put Tommy's hands on the piano, flat against the wood. Tommy looked at him, curious. Dean gestured to the pianist. "Play something." The pianist started, a slow ballad, rich with bass notes. The piano vibrated. Tommy's eyes went wide. He could feel it, feel the music moving through the wood, through his hands, through his entire body. Dean watched Tommy's face, watched the wonder, the joy, the pure, unfiltered happiness, and Dean started to sing, "Return to Me." One of his most beautiful songs, slow, emotional, romantic. Tommy couldn't hear it, but he could feel it. Feel the piano, feel the bass from the band, feel the vibrations of the stage beneath him. And he smiled, the biggest smile, watching Dean's mouth move, watching the band play, feeling the music in a way most people never would. The audience watched, silent, crying, witnessing something they'd never forget. When the song ended, Dean knelt beside Tommy again. "What do you think? Can you feel it?" Tommy nodded. His hands moved, signing something. The mother was crying in the front row, watching her son. Dean looked at her. What did he say? The mother's voice broke. He said it's the most beautiful thing he's ever felt. Dean felt his own throat tighten. He looked at Tommy, smiled, then gestured for Tommy to stand. They stood together, center stage, and Dean started to clap for Tommy. The audience joined, standing ovation, for a 7-year-old deaf boy who just wanted to watch a show and got to be part of one. Dean walked Tommy back to his parents. The mother hugged Dean, sobbing, "Thank you, thank you. You changed his life." "No," Dean said quietly, "he changed mine." The family sat down, front row, the best seats, and Dean finished his show. Every few songs, he'd look down at Tommy. Tommy was watching, smiling, his hands on the stage, feeling the vibrations, feeling the music. After the show, Dean found the family backstage, gave them tickets to every show that week, all in the front row, all so Tommy could feel the music. And every night, Tommy came, sat in the front row, felt the vibrations, felt the joy. On the last night, Tommy's mother gave Dean something, a drawing. Tommy had drawn it. It showed Dean on stage, Tommy sitting at the piano, music notes all around them. Even though Tommy couldn't hear music, he'd drawn it, because he'd felt it. Dean kept that drawing for the rest of his life, framed it, hung it in his dressing room. A reminder that music isn't just about hearing. It's about feeling, about connection, about making everyone feel like they belong. Years later, Tommy's mother wrote Dean a letter. She told him that night changed Tommy's life. That Tommy had been afraid to go anywhere because people always made him feel different, wrong. Like he didn't belong, but that night Dean made him feel special, important, valued. Tommy is 18 now, the letter said. He's studying to be a teacher for deaf children, because he wants to make other kids feel the way you made him feel that night, like they belong, like they matter, like the world has a place for them. When Dean read that letter, he cried. November 8th, 1969, the night Dean Martin stopped mid-performance. The night security tried to throw out a deaf child. The night Dean said no, not on my watch, not in my show, not to this child. The night Dean put a 7-year-old boy on stage, let him feel the music, let him be part of something, let him know he belonged. That night didn't just change Tommy's life. It changed everyone who was there, changed how they saw disability, changed how they understood inclusion, changed how they thought about what it means to belong. And it changed Dean, made him realize that his platform wasn't just for entertainment. It was for making people feel valued, for standing up when others wouldn't, for saying everyone belongs here, everyone matters, everyone deserves to feel the music, even if they can't hear it, especially if they can't hear it. That's what Tommy taught Dean, and what Dean taught 1,000 people, and what that story has taught everyone who's heard it since. That belonging isn't about being the same. It's about being seen, being valued, being given the chance to experience joy on your own terms, in your own way. That's what Dean gave Tommy, a chance to feel the music, and in return, Tommy gave Dean something more valuable. A reminder that the most beautiful thing you can do is make someone feel like they belong, like they matter, like the world has space for them. That's legacy, that's humanity, that's what it means to use your power for good. And Dean Martin did exactly that.